Hey guys, so today I have a redstone tutorial lined up for you. No one's asked for this yet, but I'm going to start to be doing tutorials on my channel, and this will be a great place to start. So I have a lot of stuff lined up today, so let's get started. So if you didn't already know this is redstone ore. You basically mine it up with an iron or a diamond pick. I'm pretty sure you can't mine it up with a stone pick, and you basically get this powder sort of stuff. This is basically the electricity in Minecraft. It'll power all sorts of cool contraptions, so you can place it on almost any surface, like grass and all this stuff. Let me switch back to creative, and we'll keep this rolling. So you can't place it on glass, unfortunately, but as I said, you can place it on a lot of materials. And there's some, not all, but most of the stuff that you can use in with redstone. There's redstone dust, repeaters, torches, and levers, and there's also pressure plates along with tripwires and stuff like that. But basically, most of the redstone stuff will be destroyed when it comes into contact with the water, but pressure plates will not. So these are redstone torches. They're basically an unlimited supply of electricity, or redstone power if you want to call it that. And it's not infinite, actually. It'll go out for about, I think it's 15 blocks. And you can see the powered stuff has this particle sort of effect, and when it stops, it's just dead. You can tell the difference really well. So basically, it'll only reach that far until you invert the signal, which we'll get into that later, or you use redstone repeaters, which basically, they renew the current. So you can see it's turning itself on, and now this stuff right here is powered because it no longer reaches 15 blocks. It's been renewed, and the current goes even farther. Now, it'll only reach another 15 blocks from here, so after that, you're going to have to use another redstone repeater or do something else. So here's all the inputs of redstone. Basically, the redstone torch, which we already have gone over, it basically gives an unlimited supply of power. There's also a lever, which is basically like the torch, except it's toggleable. You can turn it off and on. The button, which it'll give a short burst. I think it's no, it's not 1 tick, it's longer than that. But basically, it'll give a short burst of power, and then it'll turn itself off. There's also pressure plates, which if you stand on them, alright, well, this is a stone pressure plate, so it's only triggered if a mob or a player stands on it, and then while they're standing on it, it'll give an unlimited amount of power, and it'll stop once you step off of it. Wooden pressure plates, on the other hand, they can be triggered the same as stone pressure plates, except when they can be triggered by items too. Whereas, no, I didn't want to toss that. Stone pressure plates are not triggered by items. So there's also tripwires, which was just added in the 1.3.1 update, I think it was. There's too many updates. So basically, if you step on this little almost invisible wire, it'll trigger the redstone and it will power the block that you want to be powered, I guess. There's also detector rails, which basically when a minecart passes over it, it'll give the power, and once the minecart goes off of it, then it'll stop giving power. So let me go quickly and get a minecart here. And once you push it onto the rail, it'll start giving power to the block, and then when you push it off, it'll stop giving power. So that's all the types of inputs. Here's all the stuff that you can use with redstone. Basically, dispensers, which if you didn't know, they basically just spit out an item. They can do arrows and stuff like that. There's note blocks. Yeah, you can hear that. There's doors, both iron and wooden. There's fence gates, trap doors, pistons, and then there's rails. There's rails, which basically if you have two different directions, it'll basically switch the rail so that you can go either way. And then there's also powered rails, which basically if you get into a minecart, no, I didn't want to place that. If you get into a minecart and you push yourself along on a powered rail, it'll go really fast, but that's not what this tutorial is about. Okay, and of course, it also triggers TNT. I know you guys want me to do that, so that is a massive hole. Okay, moving on. Basically, redstone torches will give the power to basically their four sides, but they won't trigger the corners. So you give it right here, these will get powered, but they can't just do it just on their own. Redstone torches also power. So basically what you need to get with this is it's giving the power to this block, which is in turn giving it to the redstone. It gets kind of confusing, but once you get that, then you start to get redstone. This is basically another example of that, where there's no redstone wiring connected to this piston right here. There's nothing that should give it power, but this redstone will travel into this block, and this block, even though it doesn't use any redstone or power, it'll be redstone powered. And basically, since this piston is sitting right next to this block, it'll in turn give the power to the piston, so it'll work even though no redstone wire is connected to the piston. So basically, also what I said about earlier, how you need to invert the redstone torch or whatever to make it go 15 blocks, this is basically what you do. So if you apply a redstone current to a block and the redstone torch is there, it'll basically flip it off, making this current go away. So I'll just show that right there. What basically happens is that this redstone current travels into the block, and then since this redstone torch is right on the block, it'll turn it off, which in turn this redstone torch won't be given any power to this. So this is the first sort of logic gate, if you will. It's called the NOT gate. So basically, if this is on, then this is not on, and if this is off, then this is not off. That's pretty much the most basic logic gate you can get. So basically, we morph all that together, the inverting of torches and the giving of redstone power to blocks, and you get this contraption. So basically, it's a really compact way of giving power to this piston. So basically, the redstone signal will travel through here, invert this torch, and since this torch is basically inverting this torch, so since this will be off, this will be on, and that will give power to this block right here, which will then in turn give it to the piston. So that works right there, but there's no redstone wiring connecting the piston to anything. So moving on, as I said right over there, if you have a redstone torch right underneath another redstone torch, it'll turn that redstone torch off, so it'll no longer give power. So you can see right here, this redstone torch is off. It's on, which will turn this one off, which will turn since nothing is inverting this torch, this will stay on, and that's inverted. So the redstone signal up here is not powered yet, but if I go and turn this lever on, it'll invert this one, which was before it was on, which was this one was off. So basically, it goes up in the line. Whichever was on is now off, and whichever was off is now on. So basically, it travels up, and it's powering this piston. So it's basically a very compact way of traveling redstone upwards. So using all this stuff that we just learned, you can make cool contraptions like this, which basically, and I don't know why it's not going on fire, but basically you can shoot fire arrows, which is pretty cool and is a great defense for your base. I have no idea why that's not setting them on fire, but basically all it is the redstone current travels from that button, and it goes up and is in turn given to these dispensers, which are loaded with arrows. And then you can also make piston doors, which are really cool. So basically, it's just a 2x2 door, and it works. Let me uncover this really quick. This lever will be giving power to this redstone, which just travels up either end and powers that piston, and it will go up around and power this piston. It's not all that hard, but once you start getting the basics of redstone, you can start to think about how you can start to design your own redstone contraptions, because as long as you get the logic gates, which I'll be going over in the next tutorial, and the basics of redstone, you can go really far with redstone and build lots of awesome stuff. Although I have no idea how to build those computers. Those are just crazy, and I'm too impatient to learn how to do them. So I think that's good for this beginner's tutorial. My next this next episode, I'll be covering all these logic gates, which basically they give you better experience with redstone. They'll help you to do more advanced things. So this is me, and I'll see you guys next time.